Hey, this is Chris with Rekkid Talk. So you know the way that the estates of Charles Schultz and Vince Guaraldi reissue this Charlie Brown stuff, a Charlie Brown Christmas every year. Every year there's more Charlie Brown Christmas records out there. It's the same old record, it's the same old music, it's not new content. Well, I've learned a lesson. I'm going to give you some recycled content. You probably didn't watch this video anyway last year, so I'm going to repost my 12 shopping tips for different kinds of record collectors. Remastered. I remastered it. Yes, I remastered my video, so you'll buy it. Hey, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk. So I'm going to drink beer while making this video. This is going to be like a semi-rant. This is Rekkid Talk's 12 tips for buying gifts for a member of the VC. Because we know people in the VC are so easy to shop for. All right, let's get started. First of all, you might have a friend who's a serious jazz collector. So here's this issue. They already have the Tone Poets. They have the other recent high-end issues. You don't want to offend them with a silly colored vinyl of a Love Supreme that you got at Wally World or Target. Instead, you need to get them a classic old-school clarinet record. These are easily obtainable at your local flea market or antique mall. And my junior high band teacher approves of this message. Thumbs up to Mr. Jensen. Tip number 2. You might have a friend who is really into 1990s country, and this is the person that Garth Brooks is perfect for. You could either get them a complete set of Garth's 1990s discography straight out of the used bin. That'll even include that Chris Gaines alt-schlock stuff that Garth doesn't want you to remember. Or what's even cheaper and easier is you can just get that $12 box set straight off of Amazon. And you know the Beatles or the Beatle estates, they're not going to sell you anything for $12, let alone a complete box set. All right, and you're going to have elderly deadheads on your shopping list. And you need to remember, what do these guys dislike more than anything? I mean, sure, they hate Fish records. You probably don't want to give them a Fish record. But what deadheads despise even more than the Fish are the Grateful Dead studio albums. So don't buy them a Grateful Dead studio album. Under no circumstances should you do that, particularly the ones where Jerry Garcia is wearing a white suit on the cover. And since it's impossible to keep track of the 739 live records that they have and which one your friend has or doesn't have, just play it safe and get them Bob Marley Legend on cassette. Trust me, the old deadheads, they all have tape decks. What about the Beatles freaks? I mean, the Beatles aficionados on your list. This is hard. They have every single Beatles record in the canon 4 times over. Okay, they don't have the butcher cover thing, but that's not obviously in our budget. I recommend you gift your Beatles friends something that they will enjoy. A band from the 1990s. They're from Manchester rather than Liverpool, but they're even better than the Beatles. Yes, every Beatles fan needs an Oasis record in their collection. What about those mopey middle-aged single losers that are creepily attached to female alt-rock singer-songwriters to the point where they scour Discogs and eBay looking for obscure soundtracks and other compilations with like Juliana Hatfield songs on it? I mean, like we got this one, we got there, look at that. Or they might have more than one Fiona Apple or Tori Amos record in their collection. Heck, my camera fell over. I was so excited to show you the Tori Amos CDs. And I didn't even show you the Fiona Apple on Expensive Vinyl Me Please vinyl yet. So, okay, obviously these guys need some manly man music in their collection, especially since they tearfully threw away all their Bryan Adams records. That's Ryan with an R, not Brian with a B. So they're going to need something like Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish, and the hot dog flavored water. Or maybe you can get them some Bloodhound Gang if they need to develop a sense of humor that isn't woke. If you get these guys some Ted Nugent, you're really going to make their heads explode. Hip-hop fans. Hip-hop fans can be very hard to shop for. Virtually, Vinyl Me Please has the answer for your rap-loving friends. There's a $200 record that they are currently selling that's a double LP tribute to Jam Master Jay with 12 songs that quote-unquote inspired Run DMC. Please don't let the fact that this is just a badly overpriced K-Tel dissuade you. It'll certainly appreciate over time and will be an excellent investment. Barring that, I'm sure the Discogs flippers have plenty of copies of Wu-Tang Clan, Vinyl Me Please reissues, and other recent hip-hop records on Vinyl Me Please that may or may not be on sale because of the pressing issues. 'Tis the season for taking chances. Number 7. No one knows what to buy a classical music fan. They are snobs. They will certainly turn up their noses at affordable versions of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. They think the part where the cannons goes off is cheesy. You could go avant-garde. Avant-garde music is a minefield. It's also expensive, and it's 50-50 whether they're going to love it or if they're going to think you're the most gauche person on the planet for getting them the wrong thing. The approach here is to veer completely away from buying music for them. Instead, just get them a musical snow globe. Number 8. The only group of music fans that are bigger snobs than classical nerds are the hardcore punkers. These guys are such elitist shitheads. If you buy them some cheap punk singles, they know that you got them dollar bin stuff and they turn up their noses at it. So to satisfy them, you're going to have to spend at least 3 figures for records that sound exactly the same as the $1 bin records that they just rejected. So just buy them something by The Offspring. They'll hate you for it, but they were going to hate you even if you sprung for that rare Zero Boys record. Number 9. Southern rock fans are the easiest of the music fans to shop for. They are decidedly not record collectors. These guys actually only like 2 songs anyway, Sweet Home Alabama and Flirtin' with Disaster. So all you need to do is just get some MP3s of those 2 songs and burn them a CD alternating between those 2 songs until you run out of room on the CD. They'll love it when they're on a boat on the lake next summer drinking Natty Light and getting sunburned. What you never want to do with the Southern rock fans, never buy them Neil Young. They hate Neil Young. And never, ever, ever buy them REM. REM is definitely not a Southern rock band. Yes, they're from Athens, Georgia, but they are not a Southern rock band. The B-52s, Athens, Georgia, they are not a Southern rock band. So, now, however, Ted Nugent, he's from Michigan. They like him too. So you can get them some Ted Nugent if you want. Tip number 10, heavy metal. The heavy metal people are so finicky. There are so many subgenres, and the metalheads are going to reject anything you've heard of. Metallica, that's not real metal. And don't give this to your classical friends either. The classical people hate it when the symphony orchestras play with the gauche rock star people. You're thinking, oh, Judas Priest, that's one. No, Judas Priest has gone soft. They don't like them. What about Iron Maiden? Iron Maiden. Well, the metalheads, they already own all the Iron Maiden records in 4 different formats, but they only actually ever play Number of the Beast anyway. So what you need to do is you need to go on the internet, you find the Finnish metal guys in the VC, you check out what they like, and then if on the off chance you can actually decipher and type those band names into Google, you order it from their Bandcamp. It's going to cost you about $150 per record after shipping, and there's no way it's going to arrive in the United States in time for this year, but you'll be ready for Christmas 2022. What do you do for this year? For this year, it's heavily ring-worn, Deep Purple and rock, and if your friends are lucky, there's going to be 50-year-old marijuana seeds still trapped in the gatefold. Number 11, indie rock and pop fans. They're such hipsters. To figure out what these people would possibly like, you're going to have to watch the Vinyl Douche. And then you're going to have to try to order those artisanal vinyls off of some douche's Bandcamp. And these are always sold out. And if you do manage to get one, oh, it's the umbrellas. Oh, it's on Coke bottle green vinyl. Well, then you're going to like it, and you're not going to be able to get another copy to give to somebody. So that's not going to work for gift-giving purposes. And so every single one of these hipster millennial band, and they might be a Gen Z band. I'm too old to be able to distinguish between millennials and Gen Z. But every one of these hipster bands presses like 24 copies of their record. Don't they realize that back in the good old days in the 1970s and the 1980s, the record companies would just press millions of plain black records on vinyl thinner than a crepe? You want to see how thin that vinyl was? Let me show you how thin that vinyl was. Here's how thin that vinyl was. Look how thin that vinyl is. This isn't this 180 gram crap. So, okay, all those notch copies of Queen's Hot Space, that was just because the record company was off by an order of magnitude in terms of the demand. So come on, you hipster bands, don't be afraid to have thousands of copies of your own record in your apartment for years because you misjudged the demand. Oh well, what you're going to do is you're just going to buy your hipster friend a Taylor Swift record. They secretly love her. Or you can give them one of your old cassette tapes from the 80s. Psychedelic Furs, they would go crazy for that. You haven't listened to it since 1988 anyway. If you find your Green Day dookie, give that to your punk rock friends. They're going to love that. The hardcore punk guys, they don't hate Green Day and they don't hate cassette tapes. And so, by now, you certainly have the impression that all of the record collectors are just impossible jerks to deal with, and you should just not be friends with any of them. Well, you're largely right, but there is one type of record collector that is easily impressed: the world music enthusiast. These people are always libtards, and they're so afraid of coming across as being prejudiced against any possible race, ethnic group, nationality, that they will literally claim to love anything, as long as it's not from like the United States or Canada, England, Australia, Western Europe. Anything from Africa, Asia, South America, Eastern Europe, no matter how scratchy or atonal or annoying it is, they're going to tell you that listening to that record was a transcendent experience. Awful Soviet music from the 1930s, it's an interesting cultural experience. Folk music with bagpipes that sounds like a cat being murdered, it's like proto-free jazz to them. Since the best compilations on vinyl from the reputable reissue companies with the well-searched liner notes are expensive, just get them the Putumayo CD. Let me go show you one. Here we go. We got some Putumayo world music. Yeah, you're going to be able to get this at the mall. It's got music from Greece. This is like your Greek restaurant music. This is much cheaper, and your world music enthusiast friends, even though they don't actually like this kind of stuff, they're going to be so afraid of hurting your feelings that they're going to tell you this is the best record they've heard this year. So there you go, 12 shopping tips for your record collector friends. Or maybe you just shouldn't have record collector friends.